Yippee, guys! Welcome back, guys. This is History of Digimon Digital Monsters Season 1, Episode 40 of my show, but this is about Episode 39. Now, before I actually start talking about it, I just want to mention this is the last video for this arc, so I just want to say thank you for, your support and helping me get through this third arc and stuff, and, again, this video will probably have to be a short one, because the 39th episode is under 19 minutes, and like I said, after this one, I'm going to do a video over 20 minutes to do a set of character bios on the 4 Dark Master characters. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. Now, this is History of Digimon Digital Monsters Season 1, Episode 40 of my show, but this is about Episode 39, and this episode is, in English dub, Episode 39 is called The Battle for Earth, and also I just want to mention, this is the last episode for the third arc, and it's also the last episode of the Back to Earth Saga. So what I'm going to do is, before I start talking about it, I just want to mention what I'm going to do is when I finish this video and put something in the description for it, I'm just going to say, end of arc 3 / end of Back to Earth Saga. Now, getting into it, this episode starts off with it going to the warp devolving scene that I explained in my previous video with Agumon and Gabumon, and it introduces their final evolutionary forms. Now I'm just going to explain to you what their attacks are called. Like I said in my previous video, War Greymon's special attack is called Terra Force, and Metal Garurumon's is called Metal Wolf Claw. And when their character bio shows up, after that thing with the character bio, Izzy is saying, Mega Digimon! They digivolve to Mega Digimon form! And then Tentamon's like, that's great because we're gonna need them to defeat Metamyotismon! And then what happens is, they start battling him and stuff, and then, they get in a van to drive to the area to get close to where Metamyotismon is, and then what happens after that is, while they're in the van, Ty's telling War Greymon, he's like, get it to him, War Greymon! And then Carter's like, put his lights out! Which is kind of funny. He's like, put his lights out, that's funny. It's funny, guys, it's kind of funny. I just thought I'd get it out of the way. It's a bit funny. Anyway, but when they're in the van later, Metamyotismon starts attacking again, and then what happens is the van falls over and they're still trying to get away from where it is, and then they're all looking for each other, and then Kai's looking for Kari, and then what happens is it goes into where Joe, Mimi, and the others are, and they're wondering if there's any change in the parents' condition, and he says that they're still Jim says that they're still the same, and then Gomamon's like, alright, I thought they're fooling around. We've got to finish off my Otismon once and for all. And then basically what happens is, Mimi's like, our parents always stood up for us. Then she said that their parents always stood up for them. So now it's their turn to pay them back and stuff. They always stood up for their children, so now it's time for them to stand up for them and stuff. And then basically what happens is Joe's thinking that they've already tried to fight him and it didn't work. And then Gomamon is saying that they'll try again, and then he makes a little joke. He's like, you know what they say, all for one and one for all, which is kind of like that saying, all for one and one for all and stuff. I just thought I'd get that out of the way because it's kind of funny. And then Joe starts getting a little hyperactive, and then he starts running at it, and then Sora's telling Jim she's excusing Joe for what he did because he's kind of a little hyperactive and stuff, which is kind of, it's a bit funny. It's funny, really, it is. Oh my god, that's funny a bit. And then they start fighting, and then later on, Tentamon joins in the fight after he finds Togemon, Kakamon, and Bergermon. He goes in, and then it goes to the scene where they're digivolving, and then Tenmon, Digimon, Kawaterimon to fight. And then later on, while they're fighting him, their crests activate and stuff, like, and then after they, well, what happens first is they cause a couple of attacks on him and stuff, and then later on what happens is War Greymon uses a spinning version of his Terraforce attack, but when he does, he makes a little pun like, and now to wind things up! And then basically what happens is, after the attack happens, Venom is like, you think you can defeat me? You've only awakened a beast within! And then his little face starts popping up from under where he is, and then Ty's freaked out by that, and then what happens basically after that is, then their crests start to activate, and then they bind Venom Myotismon, and then the voice in the little bottom part is saying, curse you, Digidestined! Curse you and all your miserable crests! Let go! And then Ty's like, look at that! And then Ty's wondering, that's kind of freaking that little thing, and then he's wondering if, that monster represents Myotismon's actual form, and he tells War Greymon about it, and then War Greymon's telling Metal Garurumon to pass him the ball, which is that part of the structure thing that fell off, and then Sora's like, nice pass, and then she's like, and they're all screaming like, shoot! And then basically what happens is, War Greymon kicks, the ball and thing, and it hits the side of Myotismon's stomach, and then War Greymon and Metal Garurumon use their attacks, which I explained are Terra Force and Metal Wolf Claw, and finally destroyed Myotismon for good. And then they're all excited about Myotismon being gone, but that excitement is later on, how shall I put this? That excitement is later on extinguished when they see something that's up in the sky, like some kind of giant continent. And then basically what happens is they play a news report on the TV, and then actually what happens is, I should just quickly mention this. If you guys remember when I did the video for episode 36 of my show, but about episode 35, where I referenced the second season with Davis's character, I said that there were two, and this is the second one that showed up. He was on the plane when it had to make the emergency landing. His name's Cody, and I'll explain more about him as well when I get to the second season. Oh, and also later on in the news report, basically what happened with Cody is he was on the plane, and when Kawamon touched it, the plane had to make a crash landing, basically. I'll explain more about that later. I just thought I'd get that small part out of the way. And then basically what happened is they're watching a news report on the TV, like on this little monitor thing that looks like the TV, and then there's this image of a Digimon that shows up in New York that looks like a gorilla with a cannon arm. I won't explain who that is for this season, but I'll save it for next season, and I'll just tell you who the human is that's in that area that sees him. The human that's in that area that sees him, which is New York in the anime, by the way, is called Michael, and he's another Digidestined character, but he's another secondary, like, he only shows up physically in the second season. I'll explain more about him later when I get to the second season. I don't want to give too much away again. And then after that, Izzy's saying that he was right all along. That giant continent is actually the digital world. And then later on, he's telling them that they've been in the human world for just a few days, but up in the digital world, time flows much faster. Like years and years have passed. And then Koramon's like, Koramon's basically saying that since they left the digital world when it was in such a big mess, it had like years and years to get even worse and stuff. And then by that resolve, Tai says that they gotta go back. Because basically what Sora says is before that, Sora says that all the problems that's in the digital world have become their problems in the real world. So by that resolve, Tai says that they have to go back to fix the problems there in order to save both worlds. And then later on, they use their digivices and cause this light to show up. And then when TK shows up where the part of the light where it is where he is, his mom tries to stop him from going, and Matt's dad stops her because he says that they've made some selfish decisions of their own, which is kind of right. They split up, but that's technically partially because of the movie portion. I decided to get that out of the way again. And also, he says that they have to. Matt's dad says that they have to do this because it could be bigger than any of them combined. And then Matt is telling his mom that basically the whole world is counting on them if they don't. They're doing this to protect them. And then this is kind of why I didn't like Jim's character that much in this episode, because basically what he says is after that he says that Joe and his friends better get cracking, although it's hard to believe that the fate of the world is in the hands of some kids like them. And he said that if the sun doesn't come up tomorrow, they'll know that they failed. And then Izzy's mom is basically, she's telling them to stop kind of talking like that, because he's got to believe in Joe and his friends, because what they're doing is extremely brave. And then Joe said that Jim was kidding, and then he makes this little scene where he says he's going to make sure that the sun does come up, and then they all get sucked into the light, and then they're all saying goodbye to their parents, and then basically what happens is there's one more final narration scene from Ty's character where he's saying that he never thought, he's like, I never thought we volunteered to leave our families behind, but I'm not afraid. It's just like knowing that they love us gives us the power to do what they need, and that's basically where the episode stops. So if you guys like this video on YouTube, just please give it the real best you guys can, and I'll see you guys next time. Keep it digital.